You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything.
Some
I'm
people open up
reflecting
their
in.
eyes and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Need more insight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. And I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And the conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God.
See God in anything
When I talk to God.
find God in anything.
When I talk to
You
God.
can see God in anything.
When I talk to
I
God.
can find God in anything.
When I talk to God.
See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
My daddy said, don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of this man created religions. His faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear this one hell of a mental ill. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peekaboos. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy walking on water tides. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a guy when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to, when you ready to face the truth, you realize that voice is you.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
Yo, what up, family? How are y'all doing? I hope y'all can hear me and see me. And peace. What's up, Joanne? Peace, fam. Good to see you. And just so y'all know, I put the link there so that anybody who wants to come on can come on. I really don't plan to be long tonight, but if y'all get in here and it gets busy, y'all know we'll drag it out. However, my goal tonight is to just show you briefly. We are not going to be able to go back and review kind of like I wanted to. I'll reserve that time. Those who was with us on Monday and Tuesday know we had Brother Carl Clark come on here and break down his understanding and his interpretation of the Bible. What I plan to do tonight, though, especially if you have Christian friends, Christian pastors, anybody that says they know their Bible or are following this, I plan to show you what I believe be an irrefutable difference that cannot be reconciled in the gospel accounts. And that alone, that one tiny crack is enough. That's enough. That's all I need to prove or to show or to give enough evidence, rather, I should say that, is evidence that this book is a man-made work. I think Christians would agree that a deity would not make such a simple mistake as I'm about to show you all on tonight. A God who is all powerful could not make the mistake in his own word that I'm about to show you tonight. It is not a matter of omission. It's not that something was left out and one person. It is clearly a difference in the same story that should not be there when the other writers are saying something totally different than one of the other writers. And that little crack, however small or important you may see that, as insignificant as you may see that, It is still a difference. But before I go right into it, what I have to do in order to show you that is explain biblical interpretation and how we were taught in school in order to and how to interpret the word using something an art and science called hermeneutics. I'm going to show you that briefly. I'm going to go to the gospel. So if you got a Bible tonight, I really want you to follow along. I want you, if you had a computer and you're using Blue Letter Bible, I want you to open up Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, maybe in that order, because Mark was the first one written. And we need to share this. Believer, non-believer, whatever. Share this, considering what I'm about to say. And believers, when you hear this, I want you to be careful, consider it. Go in your room, get in your quiet spot, get honest with yourself and ask yourself, do I have a point? Is this a real difference? Not just a difference, a contradiction within the story of the Gospels, where all four of them are telling the same story, but at least one of them says something different than the others. I am going to show you that. And in my assessment and in my training, you cannot get around this one. There are many others, but I think this one is simple. We can start here. It's a little crack in this story, and that's enough to prove that it is a man-made story. Just before we do that, I want to thank everybody that's been rocking with the channel. We are I think we're at 249 subscribers on the YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, do that. I think because I lost one, we were at 250. I think we lost one. I don't know. Maybe they got upset or maybe they just didn't find the material good enough. However, we are on our way to 1,000 and then some more. And we're going to be enlightening people along this journey. Now, what I have to do is show you what I used to teach. When I say hermeneutics, not only did I learn it, but because I was a minister, a senior minister in the Churches of Christ, because and to those of you in other denominations, that's the pastor, that's the head guy. For those who don't know me, good evening, bro. Think with me, good evening. Good to see you, man. And because for those of you who are not members of the Churches of Christ, or you weren't a member of the Churches of Christ, when I say senior minister and all that, you're not looking at the guy because I'm young and I some people say, well, maybe he was a youth pastor, maybe he's just calling himself a minister. No, I was the guy. I hate to keep saying that, but some people you have to tell them that. I'm not trying to prop myself up, but you were looking at the person that was if you want to call it the head guy at the church. I didn't really see it that way, but that's the way that it was. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to share a document that I created when I was in the church to explain to the church how they were to interpret the Bible. Now, I don't know if that's big enough. I hope that that's big enough for you all to see. Let me go to the window just to make sure. I want to make sure y'all can see that. Maybe I can. How can I increase that? Let's see. I'm going to leave it right there because I don't have time. I want to move through this quickly. All right. When we are interpreting our Bible, we have at least about 7 hermeneutical questions. We call 7 things we need to look at, questions we need to ask ourselves. And I want you to pay close attention to this. Believers alike. I know I'm rambling just a little bit. I was giving people time because I really want believers to know what I'm saying here. So many people accuse you of saying something you didn't say. What is hermeneutics? If you can see this document here, make sure it's showing hermeneutics. This is actually, y'all see that I had established here in Jacksonville, Florida, and this is no disrespect to them. Those folk know I love them. Their minister knows I love them, and we still are in contact. All right, hermeneutics. This is what a document I created for the Northbound Church of Christ lesson notes, and I get, and the date is right there. Y'all are able to see this was on June 15th, 2016. Okay, from Minister Elisha Taylor Jr. That's me, Eli. All right, now let's do this. I got to make it big. Now, I can't see y'all. I'm just looking at the document. What is hermeneutics? The study of the principles and methods of interpreting the text of the Bible. Here are the hermeneutical questions. 7 interpretive questions to help modern interpreters think through all of these hermeneutical issues. A, what did the original author say? Now, I don't have time to get too deep into each one, but this is right there in the parentheses, textual criticism. Did they actually, because what we're reading most of the time is a translation. Some scholars have gone out and looked at some manuscripts, some old parchments or whatever that they have, and they have translated from the original languages that they find it in into a language for most of us watching this that will be English, okay? But the manuscripts that they get this from, depending on where they got it from and what time period it comes from, sometimes these manuscripts say something different. So you have to do the research into the textual criticism. What was actually, now I argue that you can't know. But even if you say you know, at the end of the day, we have some Bibles that have the story I'm about to show you in it. They have the story. And just so you know where we're going to the crucifixion scene when Jesus is being crucified with the other 2 thieves. All right. 1. Okay. What did the original author say? That's textual criticism. Pay attention to number 2. Number 2 or B is going to be critical in tonight's point. Please pay attention. What did the original author mean? Now, to get meaning, you have to you get or you perform something called exegesis. The word exegesis means out of the text, or exa means out of. That means what is written, you're pulling out the meaning that is there. There is a opposite term called eisegesis. That's when you read into the text what the text did not say. And if you are a preacher, if you're honest, you know so far, so good. What I'm telling you is right, true, and accurate. This is what they learn. This is still, it's a good method, because you cannot read into the text what the text didn't say. That would be, if you're a Christian, that would be to put words in your God's mouth. And you don't want to do that as a Christian. You just don't want to do that, right? You want to pull out of the text what you think your God actually said. Pay close attention to B. What did the original author mean? Now, you can only get meaning from the words that were actually there. All right. C. What did the original author say elsewhere on the same subject? Parallel passages and biblical theology. Now, this is another critical one, because most people read the Gospels. Let's say you're going to read the Gospel of Matthew. What they'll do, they'll start at Matthew 1:1, read all the way through to the end of the book, and maybe you go on to Mark and read all the way through to the end of the book. What we're going to do here is a little different, because apparently they're supposedly talking about the same man, right? Jesus. So at the crucifixion, we have 4 writers, right? We have 4 writers supposedly in the New Testament, and that crucifixion scene, all 4 of them talk about the same event. So C, what did the original author say elsewhere on the same subject? So in the Gospels, this is kind of unique, because supposedly you have 4 different authors, but we can still perform correct exegesis and hermeneutical approach to this, because these writers are supposed to be talking about the same event. Let me add this in. When the Christian is studying, you also believe that these writers are writing this under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, somehow through God's guidance. Therefore, they are not going to contradict each other. This is what is believed by those who are believers. Mark cannot contradict Matthew, Luke can't contradict John, and vice versa, and all the different ways that you could have that. So keep that in mind. Also, that's very important. I have to do this. Get this foundation. Bear with me. D, what did other biblical authors say on the same subject? Parallel passages, systematic theology. So in this one, that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at what Matthew said on the crucifixion, Mark said on the crucifixion, what did Luke say, and what did John say? They can have differences, but the problem is when they have a direct contradiction. Let me say it again to the Christians. I'm not talking about differences. I'm talking about a direct contradiction. Somebody said something happened that did not happen, or did it happen? You won't know because they are in disagreement. All right. E, how did the original hearers understand it? Historical and literary context. So when you read certain things, I'll give you an example real quick. Some of you that are familiar with the Bible, I think there's a story about a woman who lost a bead or something off of her necklace. So when you know something about the original hearers and things, when if they were to read this passage and this woman that lost this bead, when a woman got married back then, this is kind of related to this point. When a woman got married back then, she had a certain amount of beads on a certain necklace that was given to her, I think either by her husband, but either way, it had a certain amount of beads on it. And as in this story, she lost one, and they rejoiced after she found it. And when you read that story coming from today's context, it's like, why are you so, happy? It's like losing a little bead off your necklace. What's the big deal? The reason that was a big deal back in that day is because she was given that necklace with that amount of beads. And if one was missing, that meant she had at least been unfaithful to her husband at least one time. So that woman that lost one wasn't unfaithful, but she was so glad when she found it. That's kind of getting into the historical context so you can understand these stories a little better. All right, that was real quick and dirty, but I'm trying to go somewhere tonight. Let's see. So we were on F. How does the original message apply to my day? That's also related to the cultural application. What would that be like? That example I just gave you, what would that be like today? Don't know, not important for our passage we're going to be looking at tonight per se. G, how does the original message apply to my life? For Christians tonight, you want these Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John need to agree, because if they don't agree, you have an issue. You have to stop saying there are no contradictions in this book. You have to stop saying that this document is perfect. You cannot say that anymore after tonight if you're going to be honest with what is simply there. Not performing eisegesis, reading into the text was not there. You need to only perform exegesis, taking out what is actually on the page. And those are the 7 questions. Okay, we'll leave that right there. Now we're gonna get into the thick of it. Good evening, Jarvis. What's going on, bro? Good to see you. Now that I've laid that foundation, if you're rocking with me, let's get ready to dive into the text. We are going to start off with Mark, okay? And I'm going to share my screen. And what we're going to do, we're going to read these gospels, these stories, We're going to read them side by side. So it's going to be different from you reading from the beginning of the book and then forgetting what was said and then going to another one and say, yeah, they generally say the same thing. No, we're going to look at the crucifixion part in each one of these books. Now, this should be, what's up, Bishop? What's up, Bishop? All right, here we go. Let's get busy. We are going to the book of Mark. Reason I'm going to Mark first, scholars agree, Mark was the first gospel written. So let me bring that up. We are in Mark 15. All right. It's there. Now check this out. Even the title right there above the that wasn't, of course, in the original text and all that, but we can see we're talking about what? The crucifixion. Real simple, right? Y'all stay with me because you're going to share this to with the Christians, all right? If they're honest, they'll see it. And all right, and they bring him unto the place of Golgotha, which is being interpreted the place of the skull. And they gave him to drink wine mingled with myrrh, but he received it not. Now, there are some other differences in here, but I'm just going to deal with one that I can straight up prove is a contradiction. Verse 24, and when they had crucified him, they parted his garments, casting lots upon them, what every man should take. And it was the third hour, and they crucified him. And the superscription of his accusation was written over the King of the Jews. And with him, this is the part you need to pay attention to. Listen close. Believers, listen close. I'm going to read what's there. I am not going to put in what's not there. I'm just reading what is actually on the page. We will perform exegesis, not eisegesis. And with him, they crucified two thieves, one on his right, one on his left. And the scripture was fulfilled, saying, and he was numbered with the transgressors. And they that passed by railed on him. That's to make, they're making fun of. Now, this is talking about they that passed by. So we're not talking about the thieves right now passing by and making fun of him, because they ain't passing nowhere. They stuck up there. But there are people down in the crowd making fun of Jesus up there on the cross, right? It says, and they that passed by railed on him, wagging their heads and saying, ah, thou that destroyest the temple and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself and come down from the cross. Watch this. Likewise, also the chief priest mocking. Likewise, you see, likewise, the chief priest mocking said among themselves and the scribe, he saved others, himself he cannot save. Let Christ, the King of Israel, descend now from the cross, that we may see and believe. And they that were crucified with him reviled him. And they that were what? Crucified with him reviled him. Not he that was crucified with him. And they, that's more than one. He was crucified with how many? Two others. And they that were crucified with him reviled him. They are making, so the two thieves, listen, the two thieves are also making fun of Jesus according to the first gospel written, Mark. Okay, Mark writes that both thieves, I didn't put in what's not, I didn't put anything in that's not there. All right. As I'll read, I'm only going to read further just so people see that I'm not making this up. Verse 33, when the 6th hour was come, darkness was all over the land. In the 9th hour, blah, blah, blah. Elah, Elah, lost sabachthani, blah, 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 blah. And then they that stood thereby heard, and behold, he calls for Elias. They ran, got a sponge. Jesus cried with a loud voice. The veil of the temple was rent. The centurion stood over against him, saw that he cried out, gave up the ghost, and there were women looking. And let's go down. Who also, when he was in Galilee, followed him, blah, 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 came up with him to Jerusalem. And now there was come to preparation. So here's the thing. Jesus is dead. Notice what it said about the thieves. Let's go back up here. Let's go back up here. And they, I have to stress that so the Christians don't miss it. And they that were crucified with him reviled him. Where are we reading? We are reading this out of the book of Mark, the 15th chapter and verse 32. Let me see if there's any comments because I'm not seeing. Peace. What's up, Bruce? Peace. What's up, man? Now, got that. Now that's Mark. That's Mark. Y'all follow me. If there are any believers here, follow me. If there are not, we're going to share this with them. Y'all share this with the believing friends. This, to me, is a simple one, yet it is clear. It is powerful. Now, what are we reading? We are reading Matthew. What is Matthew talking about? The exact same thing that Mark talked about. He is not talking about some different event. He is talking about the same event, and it says crucifixion. Here we go. Let's read. And when they were come unto the place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of the skull, they gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall. And when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. And they crucified him, parted his garment, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. And sitting down, they watched him there, and set up over his head his accusation written, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." So far, so good. Sound the same, right? Okay. Then were there how many thieves? 2 thieves crucified with him, one on the right, one on the left. We sound the same, right? We good. Okay, let's go. And they that pass by. So we talked about who's on the right, who's on the left. Then it goes to the audience. They that pass by reviled him, wagging their heads, saying, "Thou destroyest the temple, buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross." Look, watch, believers. Likewise, also the chief priests mocking him. And the scribes and the elders said, "He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be king of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted God, let him deliver him now, if he will have him. For he said, I am the Son of God." Oh, look at this, y'all. The thieves, the thieves, that's more than one. How many were crucified with Jesus? 2. One on the right, one on the left. How many did Mark say? 2. One on the right and one on the left. Matthew says, the thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same in his teeth. Now, the 6th hour, and I'm gonna skim through. Eli Losabatani, some of them that stood there heard him say he called for Elias. Straightway one of them ran, took a sponge, filled it with vinegar, put upon a reed upon him to drink, and the rest said, "Let's see whether Elias will come and save him." And when Jesus cried with a loud voice, he yielded up. Because so he's dead. He's dead after verse 50 in Matthew chapter 27. He's gone. Behold, the veil of the temple was rent. We can stop there at verse 50. He's dead, but don't miss this. We are performing exegesis. We are pulling out only what is there, and we are reading the same story in different accounts. It says, let's scroll back up here just for a reminder. The thieves, plural, also which were crucified cast the same. What was the same? Well, we got to back up. What these people were doing, they were making fun of him. Let me see if there's any comments. No comments. All right, y'all stick with me. Y'all stick with me. If you believe it, stick with me, because I'm gonna open it up and see where we at. Now we have read Mark. Mark said thieves, one on the right, one on the left. They made fun of Jesus. We read Matthew. Matthew said thieves were more than one on the right, one on the left. Who was making fun of Jesus? Thieves, not a thief. Thieves, both of them making fun of Jesus in Mark, making fun of Jesus in Matthew. I know y'all get it, but I have to stress it this way because there will be no way for a Christian to what in the world? More than one, two thieves. Thief is one. Exactly, Mike. Okay, Mackie, you tracking. That's my point. Now, I ain't got to anything hard to accept yet. Y'all ready? Mackie, I think you're a believer. Watch this. Let's see what Luke says. Now, why did I go in that order? Mark was written first. There's some debate about whether Matthew came before Luke. Really won't matter because it's supposed to be guided by the Holy Spirit, by God. God can't allow for these gentlemen to contradict, right? So we read Mark, and Mark can't say anything to contradict Matthew. Matthew can't say anything to contradict Mark. Luke written about AD 70. Some people say it was before Matthew. Not very important for our purposes. Now, let's see what Luke says. Oh, look at that. We're on the same story here. Let's see. Let's stop sharing that screen. Now let's share Luke. Luke 23. Make sure that's showing. Now, what are we talking about, y'all? The crucifixion. How many stories about it have we read? 2 stories not 2 stories, but 2 accounts from Mark, one from Matthew. Now we finna read a third one of the same event from Luke, the crucifixion. Luke says, and when they were come to the place which is called Calvary. Okay, they called it Golgotha over there in Mark, and that's not a big deal. Some people call it Calvary. Okay, it's a difference, but not really a contradiction. I get it. They called Calvary. There they crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right and the other on the left. There go your 2 thieves. Sounds a lot like the other 2 writers. Let's keep reading. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment. Now, some people say, well, you don't see where Jesus said this in the other 2. Not important. You can get away with that. The other 2 writers just chose not to say nothing about it. They just chose not to say nothing. Okay, cool. It's a difference, but not really a contradiction. Let's keep going. And the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derailed him or derided on him, however you want to pronounce it. The point is, they are making fun of him. They're doing the same thing that the people did in Matthew, the same thing the people did in Mark. They derailed on him, saying, he saved others, let him save himself. If he be Christ, the chosen of God. And the soldiers mocked him, coming to him, offering him vinegar, and saying, if thou be the king of the Jews, save thyself. Let me point out a difference before I go any further. Look at this verse. Look at Luke 23:33. And when they were come to the place called Calvary, Golgotha, whatever, a hill, place of the skull, whatever. There they crucified him, that's Jesus, and the malefactors, one on the right, one on the left. That's what it says so far about these thieves that are crucified, one on the right and one on the left. That's what it says so far. All right, let's catch back up where we were. I hope I'm not being too confusing here. Oh, Luke talks about the subscription that was over his head in Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. This is the King of the Jews. Man, sounds a lot like the others. Let's read verse 39. And one, one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, If thou be Christ, save thyself and us. Listen, how many people are crucified with Christ? 2. How many people did Mark say made fun of him? Or how many of the thieves made fun? According to Mark, both thieves. According to Matthew, both thieves. Luke is about to give us a little bit more detail, I guess. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, If thou be Christ, save thyself. Verse 40. But a conjunction denoting difference, but the other answered, rebuked him, saying, Dost thou not fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward for our deeds, but this man hath done nothing amiss. And he said to Jesus, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that today shalt thou be with me in paradise. 6th hour come, it got dark. Jesus cried with a loud voice, Unto my Father I commend his spirit. He gave up the ghost. So he's dead in verse 47. But did y'all not just catch the difference? I know my unbelieving friends caught it, but my believers, before I go any further, did you catch it? Now, I'm coming back to the screen where I can see the chat, and I see my boy Quentin in here. Quentin, I ain't even read your comments yet, but I know it's finna be a bunch of bullcrap. You know why? Because you are going to eisegete this text. You are going to put, before I even see it, you are going to put in your understanding that you cannot get out of the text. Remember the hermeneutic. You must only take what's there. You cannot read into the text what's not there. Now, I'm going to read your comments. Let's see what you say. Imagine a guy doesn't know how to handle the word, trying to handle the word and accusing the word as being, don't know how to handle the word. That's funny, Quentin. You didn't say that when I was in the church. Matter of fact, I remember a time you talking about how you looked up to me when I was in there preaching. It's so funny how you can teach people as long as you agree with what they saying, but then when you change, instead of them looking into what changed you, they just say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Nah, Quentin, not buying it. You're derailing him right now. Yeah, maybe I am, but that's not my point. My point is, what does your Bible say, Quentin? Let's come back to the issue. All right, I'm gonna get off Quint because look at this. This is clear, y'all. It says right there in our face, one of the malefactors that railed on him, but the other had a difference. Now, I could go to John, but let me tell you the thing about John. John don't even talk about the thieves. He don't mention them. Not that. So John, not that important for our purposes just yet. Now, let me go back to the text. Let's go back to it. Listen, we read Mark. Mark said both of the thieves made fun of Jesus. Matthew said both of the thieves made fun of Jesus. Luke never says both of the thieves and then one had a change of heart. He never says anything about both of the thieves making fun of Jesus. He says one of the malefactors rails on him. The other is like, hey man, what you doing? What don't we deserve what we getting? But this man ain't done nothing. Listen, Christians, I don't care how you slice it. If you're going to properly perform exegesis and not put into your God's mouth what he never said, you have to admit this is a contradiction, plain and simple. You have a gospel writer that says something different. Luke says at the beginning of his book, whoever Luke is, he says, I did an investigation to figure out what really happened. Go back and read Luke chapter 1, read verses 1 through about 4, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Luke written about AD 70. Mark came first. Luke is saying more than Mark say. Mark was supposedly closer to the events. If you want to put Mark closer and say that Mark is more accurate than Luke, even if you want to admit that Mark is more accurate, you still have a problem, because that means Luke is not as accurate. You cannot trust Luke. And all I need is one smidget of a crack to show this is a work of a man. This is not the work of a perfect deity. Nah, his teaching definitely changed. Let's see. I'm done. But y'all watch the tap. I see Quentin in here. Watch, man, we finna see some tapping going on, because as simple as this contradiction is, they cannot admit it, because to admit it would it be to not only admit defeat to somebody like myself pointing this out to you, but it would be to admit that you do not have a perfect document. It is not the word of a God. Now let's see what some of the comments are saying. All accounts are right. These are called accounts for a reason. Quentin, these accounts, if these accounts are considered the word of God, okay, the true, right, accurate story. I could actually like this, Quentin. Is Mark 100% in what he says? Is Matthew 100% correct in what he says? Is Luke 100% in what he says? If you said yes, 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 you either missed it or you just not getting it, bro, because they are not. Luke says one made fun of Jesus. The other guys, Matthew and Mark, says they both, and now all that discourse is left out. You have to perform exa. Stop putting in the text what's not there. Let's see. Nah, his teaching definitely changed. Whose teaching changed? Whose teaching changed? Can he preach no contradictions? He preached Christ. Now he preaches. I wouldn't preach a contradiction back when I was in it, because I didn't see any contradictions, Quentin. I was just like you. I was blind and asleep. Didn't see it. It took me honestly questioning, trying to be objective, finding really other issues so I could come back to issues like this and see it for what it is. It took me seeing that there is no freaking way that there was a worldwide flood, however many millennia ago, and 8 people were. It didn't happen, bro. At best, it was a local flood, and I'll say no more of that. Let me see what you're talking about, Quentin. That's his account. Quentin, get what I'm saying? If that's okay, you're saying, oh, that's Luke's account. That's just what he said. You're making it sound like, well, it's no different than today, 4 people witnessing an event and somebody hearing something that the others didn't hear, or they were mistaken. Now you can get differences in the story without having a contradiction. That's not what we have here. I'm stressing it, y'all. This is not just a simple difference. This is a contradiction, because what Mark says and Matthew says, they agree. Mark and Matthew are not contradicting each other. About this thief thing. But Luke is not saying the same thing that Mark and Matthew are saying. They are not. And if you say that Luke is saying the same thing, you're lying. You're being disingenuous, or you just straight up ain't trying to see it, because I just destroyed your belief that it is perfect, all knowing, whatever, from a God. Nah, your eyes were open. Were open. You're blind now. Quentin, all right. You read each account plainly, bro. The discrepancy is clear to those who can be honest. Everyone can see your screen. Yeah, I want to put this on here. Let's see what Quentin says. See, waste of time. You're just gonna say what you believe and just Quentin, please take 5 minutes, bro. The link. Just take 5 minutes. Come on here and explain yourself. And maybe he won't. Maybe you ain't got time. I know you. I think you still work at night. I get it. But I'm just saying, man. I'm begging you to come on here and explain your foolishness because, bro, I made this so simple. There is nobody can miss this. Now you may say, I don't know. Let me scratch my head. Let me go back and study it. I'd rather you say that than to sit up here and act like I didn't just read the scriptures, point out the difference. I did not pull any scholar or anything again. You can read this for yourselves, people. And if you're a Christian and you see this and you don't know me, that's cool. You don't need to know me. No, who I am is not important. What's important is that you give an honest look at these texts and you ask yourself, did an all-knowing and all-powerful being guide the writers to make sure that they didn't contradict? Is everything in line on this story? Or is it just a difference or is it a direct contradiction? Is it the Matthew and Mark again say both thieves? Luke never says both thieves and then one of them says, hey man, nah, we deserve what we getting, but this guy don't deserve. Luke never says both thieves and then one has a change of heart. If Luke would have said that, I wouldn't even be saying this tonight. There would be no contradiction if Luke would have said that. That's not in the text. And if Quentin or any other Christian is saying that, or any Christian at any time sees this video and you're sitting with your pastor, you're sitting with your Bible teacher, and they try to tell you, yeah, the guy had a change of heart, I want you to point out or ask this question: where do we see the change of heart written in the text? Where do we see the change of heart written in the text? We are performing exegesis, not isa. To say that he had a change of heart is to put in the text what is not there. And that, my friends, is a lie. Intellectual pride can lead to intellectual dishonesty. This is clear, bro. You didn't read into, but drew from what's obviously. Thanks, Chris. Facts. And I'm not going to be long tonight. This is really on my point. I wanted to give something brief about how we were taught hermeneutics. I have that document. If any of you would like this document, by the way, on hermeneutics that I did back in 2016 with my church, even if you're a Christian and you want this document, y'all just get in touch with me. I'll shoot it to you. All right. And for those of you that have supported me, you know you got it. And I got more material coming. I just been swamped. Let's see what else we got here. Bruce says, actually, Quentin is just saying what he believes as opposed to reading the text for what it says. Denial is real. It is, man, because I'm doing this live. I got witnesses. People have seen Quentin. All I did was read what was there and point out to you that a one Bible writer clearly says something different than the first two that I read. Again, I'm going to stress for the believers so you can really wrap your head around this. Mark says both of them made fun. It never says a change of mind. Matthew says both of them made fun of Jesus. It never says anybody had a change of heart. Jesus is dead. Luke never says that both of them made fun. He says one of them did, and the other one, whichever side he was on, I don't know which one it was, but one of them says, hey, man, don't do that. We deserve what we getting. Jesus don't deserve this. Oh, Jesus, by the way, when you remember, there's a lot to say when while you got, nails in the metacarpal regions of your wrist. I mean, this is extreme pain. This is a lot to be talking about. But I'm just saying, he says, hey, Jesus, when you remember me, when you come into your kingdom. I'm really done, y'all. Let me see what y'all said in the comments. Listen, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube, please do that. Share this video. I don't know. I could have probably made it shorter, but it was my intent to be thorough. It was my intent to be clear. It was my intent to be honest and to show where you cannot get around this contradiction. Call it simple. Call it what you may. Call it small. It doesn't matter. It is a contradiction, and all I need was one crack in this fragile story to show you humans made this story up. All right, let's see. Intellectual pride. Kenny Latrice says the superhero I was referring to was Eli Taylor because he looked up to him in the ministry. Absolutely. Yes, Quentin. Absolutely. You remember that conversation, Quentin? You remember me out here, and I will go on a little rant about that. It is so amazing. I think I was just telling Bruce about this the other night. It is so amazing how when you out here and you teaching things that agree with the people that support you, you teaching this stuff, and then when you continue to study and you find out it's not as you thought it were, you were wrong. You were wrong. You didn't have other information, so you decided to do better because you learned better. Now you don't know nothing. Now you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know how to perform exegesis. You don't know how to practice proper hermeneutical approach. I showed you the paper that I wrote, that I put together for a congregation on hermeneutics. Quentin, where's your paper that you put together on hermeneutics? Okay. Well, who have you taught hermeneutics? Okay. I stayed true to the rule of hermeneutics and proved that there's a contradiction in the Bible. True to the rule, and still there is a contradiction. And this is why I use the Bible to show that the Bible is the best tool for people to become non-religious, if you're a Christian or atheist, whatever. The Bible is the best tool. Sounds like a dramatic play. So he's blinded by his emotions to see the text for what it is. I'll put this up. Absolutely, Kenny Latrice. Quentin, I think you are. You are definitely probably feeling some type of way, but bro, I'm not in my feelings. I'm just in the text. You're out of the text. I'm in the text. I got book, chapter, and verse. What else do you want me to use? Y'all Christians say you want me to stay true to the text, keep it in I did all that just now. I kept it in context. I just simply read what was there. Boom. Where's Mackie at? Mackie, I don't hear you. I know you were like, hey, thief is one, thieves is plural. Right. That's exactly what I'm pointing out, bro. According to Luke, only one of them made fun. According to the other writers, Mark and Matthew, both of them made fun. And in Mark and Matthew, we do not see no change of heart. In Luke, we never see both making fun. We just don't see it. And if you say you see it, show it to me. Quentin, if you got it, show it to me. Big facts. That's an elaborate combo. he do. Joe say he got me preaching. I guess Quentin did win that one, Joe. Yeah, he did get me back preaching. Mark was written first. Absolutely, Kendrick. Mark was written first. That's important to note. And then Luke comes along. So I think, and don't they're not hard nosed on the dates, but I think scholars say Mark about AD 45 at the earliest, AD 50. 20 years later, you get Luke about AD 70. These are some of the earlier dating. About 10 years, maybe 15 years after Luke, you'll get Matthew. So what you would have, if you look at it in a time frame, you have Mark saying both of them made fun, no change of heart. And if Luke was first, you have Luke saying, no, only one of them made fun. Never a change of heart, but just one of them made fun, and the other was on Jesus' side. Then you would have Matthew coming back and saying no. But this is where scholars get into something called a Q source, a lost source that everybody was supposedly copying from. That's something most lay people don't even know anything about, this Q source. So I'm just gonna keep it simple as I get ready to get out of here. If y'all got any quick questions for me, y'all can go ahead and ask them. Quentin, Quentin, you did a lot of typing just there. I'm gonna take the time and read it because it's you, but I would love for you to come on, bro. I put the link there. Your entire approach is off. A contradiction exists when there are zero possible explanations. Are you suggesting that there are? Yes, I'm suggesting there are none. I ain't even got to read the rest. I'm suggesting there are no reconciliations to this unless you perform eisegesis. Reading into the text was not there. Now I'll read the rest of your comment. Do you remember the rules of interpretation at all contexts? Bruh, I did you not see the beginning of my video? I did a whole document on that. So you missed the beginning of the video. Go back and catch the beginning of the video where you know what? I'll do it right now real quick. Do it right now real quick. Hold up. Stop that. Share this. Share window. Boom. Boom. Quentin, I did this. You see this document right here? This is mine. Okay, I with my research and that I put this together, bro. This is mine. Okay, you see what that says right there? Northbound Church of Christ lesson notes given. Okay, June 15th, 2016. From who? That's me right there, bro. That's me. Okay, what is hermeneutics? Da 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 da. And I read this. I showed you. And look at this word right here. Exegesis, Quentin. I know what it is, bro. But anyway, I don't really have anything to prove to you. I'm just showing you that I had already done that. All right, let me see what else Quentin said in this comment. Do you remember the rules of interpretation at all? Context, authorial intent, historical background? Yeah. What? I can't see it. Hold on. What you're doing is not exegesis. You are making misapplication due to what's in Luke's intent to suggest that there was only one to complete absence of others. No, this just like going to what? Quentin, maybe I'm not. An account is not intended to imply every detail. Again, Quentin, listen. I understand difference in the details. I understand leaving out the details. I understand adding another detail in. That's not what's happening here, though. What's happening here is he says one. Okay, one did what? Railed on him. What did Matthew say? Both railed on him. What did Luke say? One railed on him. What did Mark say? Both railed on him. That's not a difference in the details, bro. Either both of them did or one of them did. That's a contradiction. You lying on somebody. Point blank, period. Omission is a lie. That's basic principles. Oh, I like that, King. Quentin is reaching here. Just be honest, brother. The truth shall, Joe, facts. Just be honest, Quentin. The truth shall set you free. So, Christians always got an explanation for the contradictions. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Well, listen, y'all. It's been grand, and I'll let y'all know what's coming up. We going to be talking on next week. I hope to have some special guests with me. I'll reveal who that is on Monday night. Maybe one or two special guests will be with me Monday night next week. And some news here. What we're going to do. Well, Neo, you will not let me sleep. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let her come on, Neo. Neo, what's up?
Oh, you trying to leave?
I was literally leaving. I was leaving. I was getting outro. I was finna go, but what's up?
Oh no, well don't let me hold you up because I was gonna just like I know you was talking about contradiction, like when you was talking
Yeah, go
about.
ahead.
Well, I would like for someone to explain the Judas story, like how did he die and who bought the field? Was it him or the priest? You familiar with that contradiction?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. It's so many. The reason I chose this one about the thieves on the cross, because to me, you could literally be a beginning Bible student. This is so simple. It's a small one, but if you are of the persuasion that this book came from a perfect, all-knowing, all-powerful deity and that there are no contradictions, that it was my job tonight to show you you could use proper hermeneutical approach, proper exegesis and all that, but there is still a clear contradiction between what Luke says about those thieves on the cross and what they did versus what Mark and Matthew say. And I mean, however simple, it's still a contradiction.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I
that's
understand. Just for entertainment, do you want to read the scripture or you want to go ahead and go to bed?
I'm finna go.
All right, well then.
but no, but we'll come back maybe next. It was really that kind of a day at work. I'm gonna just say it that way. It
No,
was
you
that kind of a
good.
day.
Yeah, you good.
Um.
I was off today. I even did a live. That was 4 hours. So
Oh, okay.
so
That's what's up. But yeah. To those of y'all that been rocking with the show, we're gonna put to rest the whole when the pastor has questions. The show will not be called that anymore. We're just gonna go with my YouTube channel name. So we're gonna just call the show The Voice of Eli now, and I'm just gonna deal with some different topics and things. So that's what we're doing, man. But I really wish I could get Quentin to come on. Quentin, if you want, man, you come on next week. I'm gonna have some special guests with me. But you're welcome to come on.
he probably won't. But but anyway, but great show. I caught the last ending of it. But great show. Like and subscribe, and I see you building. So I see your subscriptions going up. See the views. So keep at it.
Man,
So
I appreciate that encouragement. I need that, and it's been a journey. And like I said, I plan to keep doing it because it's working. I mean, people are out here scratching their heads. They really are. But the reason why people seem to think it's not really working the same way, you got to think about the Christian community. It's people in the churches right now that agree with what I'm saying, but they can't talk about this because they
oh yeah.
still in the box. They can't. They can't. You know.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I don't have some secret silent supporters too, because they in different positions, family. They ain't gonna. I know they can't publicly, but like I said, seeing Chief Cali, he kind of gave me that boldness to go ahead and say it out loud and not being
That's
afraid.
That's funny you should say that. And I'm just talking with you for the sake of you coming on. I really do appreciate you coming on. When I first came out or was coming out of religion, Kali will tell you, it's funny you mentioned Kali because it was Kali and Kevin Wesley, they was on a live together. They
Yep.
were doing something together. And I
Mhm.
literally, and y'all listen, this is real talk. Kali remember this. I said, hey, because your name pop up when you on, like, I think they was on what's that thing called? It wasn't a Zoom, Skype. That's what people was using back then. And I said, don't say my name. That was the first thing I said when I came on the thing. Because it showed your name. I was like, don't say my name. And I told them I was a pastor, and I said I had been studying, and I had realized that this stuff is not what I thought it was.
Mhm.
But and imagine not being, see, members can hide stuff. See, if you're a Christian and you watching this, see, the members, if they don't show up to church, I mean, they don't show up to church. If they skip out on the day, or if they got some certain type of beliefs, it's different. But when you the guy, you know what I'm saying? You the pastor, who you gonna talk to?
Yeah,
You
that's
can't you
true.
can't talk to nobody. Like, this is your livelihood. Who is I gonna tell I don't believe this stuff no more?
Mhm.
I couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
So, but you have some believers are in a position where they own businesses, and so I've literally been told this. They own businesses in the 90 80% of their business is coming from the church. And for some of them to even be associated with me is bad for their business.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't say nothing until they find a way out. But peace to all y'all, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Neo, thanks for coming on. Y'all don't see what it is. Support the platform. We
Like
gonna call
the video.
it. Yeah, like the video. Y'all,
Like
I be
the video.
forgetting. Thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah, I really appreciate that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get out of here. And y'all share this with your believing friends. This is a simple, but to me, you cannot deny that this is a clear contradiction of that's wrapped up in the Bible. So with that, without further ado, I'm gonna let y'all go, and we are going to go out with our outro by Chief Kali. Peace and love to everybody. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you much.
God in anything, your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything, your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything, your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything, your reflections in. I can find God in anything.
Some
I'm
people open
reflecting
up their
in.
eyes and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Me more insight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. And I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And the conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God.
See God in anything.
When I talk to God.
Find God in anything.
When I talk to
You
God.
can see God in anything.
When I talk to
I
God.
can find God in anything.
When I talk to God.
See God in anything. Your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything. Your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
My daddy said, don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of this man created religions. His faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear this one hell of a mental illness. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peekaboos. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy walking on water tides. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a guy when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to. When you ready to face the truth, you realize that voice is you.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in.